Good morning, friends and foes. This is Back of the Cereal Box, and I am Batman. Hey there, friends and foes. We are going to be talking about the 1977 Saturday morning animated series, The New Adventures of Batman. Na 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 na. And we're going to do that right after this. No, after this. After this.
Saturday morning, it's fun for all cartoons and cereal.
What happened? Who turned off the Willow?
Saturday morning, it's fun for all.
Oh my good Lord. One more time.
Saturday morning, it's fun for all cartoons and cereal. Let's have a ball. Comic books, Kaiju, pro wrestling too. The fun is waiting for you. Back of the cereal box.
Obviously, the Joker is in the studio and is trying to thwart our plans, which is problematic because my co-hosts are trying to thwart my plans this morning. They're being a little bit rebellious. Please welcome all the way from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, into the virtual rec room. She is your emotional support Canadian, the one, the only Willow Schuyler.
Hey,
How are you doing, Willow?
not very good. I just dumped my cereal. Second time in a row.
You know what, Willow? I almost did the same thing. Putting on my Batman robe, the sleeves, I had to roll them up because the sleeves are so long that it was hitting my cereal bowl and it was about pulling everything off. So anyway, also welcome. She's laughing hysterically in the virtual rec room. She is your wife's favorite redhead, cosplayer, artist extraordinaire. She is Aubrey Cavett.
This show is a bad influence. Please, people, do not eat around your computer.
Uh-oh.
I am objecting this morning. I am wearing pajamas.
Well, our fans voted, and our Patreon fans voted, and you all in the viewing audience, listening lounge, in the virtual rec room, agreed with our auditors that all of the hosts should wear pajamas and be consistent. But, Aubrey, they agreed that everyone should wear whatever style pajamas they are comfortable in.
So if I'm comfortable in my cosplay and can sleep in it?
If that's what you would really sleep in when you were 10 years old.
Okay. Which one of us in the audience besides me slept in their Halloween costumes?
I would have if they stayed in peace.
We're going to have this conversation again off because all of our consultants anyway. Also welcome into the virtual rec room. He is not in the same virtual rec room because he is a special guest, but he is in his Batman pajamas. It is Mr. Hollis Thompson, the host of Sunday Morning Superheroes. And Hollis, welcome back to the virtual rec room to talk about Batman. I know Batman is one of your favorite topics.
That is correct. It is really good to be here this morning. Thank you.
Well, we are super glad to have you. And so for those of you who don't know, I am John Pyka, the prophet of pop culture. You can call me Johnny Beyond. And we are Back at the Cereal Box, the pop culture podcast that celebrates the fun of the Saturdays of our youth while navigating adulthood today. We get together in the virtual rec room in our pajamas with big bowls of cereal, and we celebrate the fun of Saturday morning cartoons, comic books, kaiju, pro wrestling, all of that was in the intro, which the Joker was destined not to have us run all the way through. Avengers comic books, Star Wars movies, and Saturday morning cartoons made me who I am today. Aubrey, you love all things comic book and geek related. Willow, you're a big fan of Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers and Ghostbusters. What about the Batman?
How many Batmobiles do I own?
Wait,
Count
the
them
question.
all.
How many? No, wait, I want to know now.
Well, I'll have to definitely count my. I have a model kit from the 60s for the 66 Batmobile that I have to build, and I have at least 4 or 5 different like movie variations.
So you're a fan.
Oh, absolutely. Plus the
Outstanding.
Lego kit.
Ooh, Legos! Yes,
Well-
the Lego Batman.
Here's the funny thing. I have always believed that Batman is the most overrated superhero comic book character of all time. And yet, I have more Batman merchandise, more Batman toys, figures, and I have my mask. I have more Batman graphic novels than any other character except for Captain America. I specifically collect Captain America memorabilia, and I've got a whole bookshelf of Captain America. But after Captain America, I've got Batman. I've got the Mego Batman. I've got the Penguin. I've got the other Mego. And look, our green screen does not like yellow either. Does not like green or yellow. It's okay with dark blue. I've got the Joker in the transparent box. That's a cool magic trick right there. I've got the Todd McFarlane Batman, the Superpowers Batman. I've got the Nashville Batman hat, which is transparent because of the green screen. I've got more Batman stuff than anything else, and I'm not even a Batman fan.
See,
Isn't that weird?
here's the thing, like I probably own more Batman stuff than I do my actual favorite superhero group, X-Men.
Okay.
Oh, that's so funny. I really, really do love Batman and the world surrounding him and a lot of the characters, including Poison Ivy, which I dress up as. But I have hardly any Batman things.
I mean, I've got the bathrobe. I've got my Batman pajamas. But I mean, anyway, I've got all of the movies on DVD and Blu-ray. Anyway, it's
Probably cosplay more DC characters than I have Marvel.
Well, so all of that to say, this mask is not going to work with this headset. Oh, there we go. That looks ridiculous, but okay. All of that to say, that's our topic this morning, specifically the new adventures of Batman. And before we get into all of that, we've got to thank our Patreon supporters. They are our Cereal Box super friends. And you too can have your name in lights at patreon.com/cerealboxpodcasts. And starting at just $2 a month, $2 a month, $24 a year. That's less than a pizza once a year. You get the privilege to call in on camera and join us in the virtual rec room. That is an amazing perk at just $2. And so we invite you to do that. We also need to acknowledge our host, or our promotional partner, New South Pro Wrestling. We are doing a promotional partnership with them at Comic-Con at the end of October. And then in November, we will be in Huntsville for their big Star Wars themed anniversary show. And of course, it is spooky season. Nightlyspirits.com. Promo code JohnP667 gets you 10% off your booking. 18 different cities across the country. Go on a haunted tour and get your spooky on. And Willow, Aubrey, and I think Hollis, I've shared this with you, with everybody in the Cereal Box Network. We are nominated, Nightly Spirits is nominated as one of the best ghost tours in the country. We are currently ranked at number 7 out of 20, which is inconceivable. We've won it twice.
Who's number one so that we can...
Providence, Rhode Island?
Oh, wait.
What?
Very historic homes.
But Providence, Rhode Island? I mean, there are more people who work for Nightly Spirits than who visit Providence, Rhode Island every year.
Is Providence really that haunted? No.
I'm claiming foul. I'm saying they're using bots. Because there's no way.
Bots.
There's no way they're number
cheap.
1. No way they're number 1, and we're only number 7. So I have posted this on our Facebook page, the link to go vote, and you can vote every day, and you can vote from multiple devices, and you can vote from the same device from a different IP. So vote daily, vote often, and you guys, this bathrobe has to come off.
Johnny, are you actually encouraging voter fraud?
No, I am encouraging you to take advantage of the gaps in the rules. There's 2 different things.
Wait a second. So you can take advantage of the gaps in the rules, huh?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's why I'm in my barber costume. Good morning, everybody. I'm still cosplaying.
So wait a minute, Aubrey. Here's the compromise. You know, after cartoons, after Saturday mornings, we got to get dressed to go do whatever we're going to do for the day. So maybe you start in pajamas, you start in that onesie, and then some point in the show, you get ready for the day. Maybe that's the compromise we can come to. I'm going to let our fans vote on it. Because you get to cosplay on Cosplay Cafe. Willow will let you cosplay on Geeky Discoveries.
Do you not understand this is part of who I am, Johnny?
Oh no, I get it.
No,
I get it.
I did have a pajama, but look what happens with the green screen.
The yellow. That is so weird. Okay, we got to work on that. I love that. We're going to figure that out. But in the meantime, we've got to ask the question, starting off, first thing in the morning, what's in the bowl? And Hollis, what do you got? You're already munching on something.
He's already halfway through the cereal.
Halfway through.
I gotta fuel myself for this show. So I am crunching on Nature's Path Organic Love Crunch.
I'm so sorry.
Ooh.
I'm so sorry.
That stuff is good though.
I like it actually, Johnny. I do. I'm a fan.
Is that the stuff with the dark chocolate?
Mm-hmm. Dark chocolate, raspberries, strawberries. It's good stuff.
Well, I am finishing the last of the frosted chocolate cake from Post. Love this. Aubrey hated it. I love it.
Actually, yes, I disliked it, but mostly because I don't like shredded wheat. But however, I did give it to my grandbaby and my daughter because he is over 1 year old now and he can have it soggy and he loves it. So thank you.
Because it's delicious. It's like chocolate cake in the morning.
Not everything is for everybody, but you know, passing it down. My kids like it.
Aubrey, what do you got?
Ooh,
Well, I mean, Willow, because Aubrey, you have a special concoction.
When I'm not being klutzy and it doesn't end up on my floor, it will eventually get into my stomach.
Well, and for those of you just listening,
the strawberry frosted flake, the strawberry milkshake frosted flakes.
Her milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
Wait, his, because Tony's. So it's Tony's milkshake. Ooh.
Well, Aubrey has something very special for us this morning. She is doing a
Combination.
a mixologist, cereal mixologist combination.
Ooh.
She's got the red, white, and blue fruity Team Cheerios and Honey Nut Cheerios.
Oh, yeah.
And she is going to combine them for us and tell us how this works.
So I already put my milk in because that would never change. I've got at least one fan on my side when it comes to Dave Mattingly. And then I have one fan or maybe anti-fan. I don't know, but they still watch the podcast. Okay. Hello. I won't name names, but I have talked to them in person and it infuriates them the way I eat my cereal. And all I got to say is I don't tell you how much ketchup to put on your dogs or whatever you put it on. Okay. I got a handful of each.
Yeah. So
More
for
than
those
that.
of you who are just listening, Aubrey poured the milk first, and she then reached into the box and took a handful of each, put it in the bowl. She's mixing it up. Here she goes for a taste. And
the berry Cheerios mixed with the classic honey nut, still not too sweet. So I'm in. I'm dry with marshmallows, like Rice Krispie treat, or even cereal with just some regular milk. And I got regular milk this morning. It's pretty good.
outstanding. So Aubrey, you're gonna love this. So at the end of the box of the frosted chocolate cake, there's just a lot of shredded wheat crumbs. And so this is a spoonful of just the shredded pieces.
No, don't. Oh, God. Oh. This is why I hid behind the cereal box sometimes when eating with friends. Ugh.
Yeah, it was bugging me a few weeks ago when I was eating oatmeal.
That's so good. For those of you just listening, it was a big, like, haystack pile of shredded wheat. And we really can't call it shredded wheat because shredded wheat is General Mills, but this is Kellogg's version of it, and it's so delicious. I love it, love it, love it. All right, so we've got some viewer comments. Only a few. Actually, only one.
There must be a convention happening this weekend or something. Where's our viewers?
Well, okay. So little admission. We are not broadcasting live to YouTube this morning because we are doing an experiment.
Oh.
YouTube does not like live streams, and so it although we're getting a lot of views, it shuttles our video into a special playlist just called Live. And it doesn't show up on the front page of your YouTube channel. I've been talking with some YouTube experts, and they suggested maybe don't stream it live to YouTube, post it later to YouTube, and see if that improves the metrics. So that's what we're experimenting with this morning. We'll see.
Huh.
Okay. Well, okay.
So we're only on Facebook this morning.
Well, good morning, Facebook.
And the reason I chose Facebook over YouTube is because we get a little spiff from Facebook when people watch.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could add it to YouTube right now, but I'm not going to.
Okay.
We're going to see what happens.
Okay.
So,
I'm just extra sharing just in case, because some people look for it on YouTube. Hello, everyone on Facebook.
most of our views come from Facebook.
Okay, yeah, but most of our chatters are on YouTube.
Yeah.
We shall see. Anyway, fun experiments. So
Experiments.
we will dive right into our next segment. And that is what we did after cereal. We reached into the box and pulled out the prize. And this is our prizes from the cereal box, also known as New Loot. And Aubrey, I think you have something, don't you? No?
Wait, I do. Nobody asked me, but I can go grab it.
We talked about this last week. You were going to show off the comic book that you read this week and give us a review. That panic look on Aubrey's face is her ADHD kicking in.
Then my ADHD going, wait, what happened?
Wait, we had a conversation? Oh, it's all coming back to her right now. And she's like, oh no, a lot has happened in 7 days.
I'm gonna go grab.
Hold on, Aubrey. Because I'll bet you Hollis has something.
Whoa.
I'll bet you Hollis has a prize from the cereal box.
Do you?
I have something. For sure.
Woohoo!
So here we go. He's going to reach into the box
And pull out this, which
Ooh.
is the first volume of the Batman 66 comic book series.
Nice.
Don't let you be fooled, though, by the title, because this was not actually released in 1966. This was in the 2010s, I believe this one came from. Yep, copyright page 2014. And this series was designed to be a comic book continuation of the Adam West TV show. So it features art, as you can see, inspired by the actors like Adam West and Burt Ward. And it has all the classic side characters like Batgirl and Commissioner Gordon and Chief O'Hare. And also the classic villains like the Joker, Mr. Freeze, Penguin, all in their 66 incarnations. And what also was really cool to me about this series is that they introduce other characters from the Batman mythos that weren't actually in the 66 series. Particularly in one of the issues, they have their own version of the Red Hood, actually, if you are a Batman super fan.
Ah, yeah.
Character. And so I
Right.
thought it was a very, very fun continuation of the Adam West series. It doesn't quite have the same feel as the Adam West series, going from the live action TV format to a comic book with the stylized art. But I still think it's a really, really fun treat if you are a fan of Silver Age comics and the wacky and craziness that happens in both those and the 66 Batman series.
Well, so here's my question for you, Hollis.
Okay.
Did you see the animated movie Return of the Cape Crusader?
I did, yes.
Because that was an outstanding continuation of the 66 series, I thought.
I agree. I like that movie. I also liked the sequel. I can't remember the title right now, but where they did Two-Face was also a fun one.
Batman versus Two-Face. We finally got a William Shatner, Adam West team up.
Yep.
Even though it was in animated form, but it was fantastic. Aubrey's giving me a weird look. What?
I'm just getting used to the green screen. I don't know what it's doing. It looks like I'm fading. I'm sitting in the same place. I think I'm losing you guys. I've not even touched the controls. What's going on?
So for those of you who are new to the show, we are doing a lot of experimentation this morning. And okay, so Willow and Aubrey, you're going to be thrilled to know that for the month of October is Scoobtober. We are going to be covering Scooby-Doo, and Scooby-Doo graphics are full of yellow and green. So guess what? we're not going to be using the green screen during the month of October. So,
Yes. Thank you, spooky season. Woo!
so that you get your reprieve on that. But, and Hollis, we're going to be talking about next week. We're going to be talking about the Scooby-Doo movies. Scooby-Doo meets Batman and Robin. Classic.
Are you talking about the one from the older series or a newer one?
No, it's the older one. It's the
Classic.
the Scooby-Doo movies came out in the early 70s.
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember that. That was I used to have that on VHS, and I watched that quite a bit. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so that'll be next week. But this week we have got to talk about our main topic. This was a Saturday morning series, The New Adventures of Batman. And as Aubrey discovered this week, it gets very confusing when you start looking into the animated Batman series, because there was The Adventures of Batman, which was packaged as part of Batman and the Super 7. Uh-oh, what just happened?
What's up?
Did I leave? No, okay.
No, you're still here.
The tab disappeared on me. Oh, yeah.
I'm noticing that there's a bit of a lag with my video right now.
Okay, that's all right. So, but Aubrey discovered that there was The Adventures of Batman, also produced by Filmation, which was packaged as part of Batman and the Super 7. But we're talking about The New Adventures of Batman, which was several years later. And in The New Adventures of Batman, Tale of the Tape, it is an animated series that aired on CBS from February 12th to May 28th, 1977. Very, very short run. It featured the DC Comics superheroes Batman and Robin and Batgirl. The series was a Filmation and DC Comics production in association with Warner Brothers Television. And it featured the dynamic duo fighting crime in Gotham City, encountering the classic Batman's Rogue Gallery, as well as some original villains. But this series introduced a character that complicated matters quite a bit. And that was Bat-Mite, a well-meaning imp from another dimension called Ergo, who considers himself Batman's biggest fan.
Wait. Well-meaning. It describes him as well-meaning. He's okay. 13 episodes. I watched 13 episodes. I had to go back and watch them because I was like, wait, what?
I was only trying to help.
1, 2, 3. I have 7 pages.
Oh my goodness. So one of the hallmarks of this series is that it really also was a continuation of Batman 66, because it featured the return of Adam West as Batman and Burt Ward as Robin. And in many ways, this series set the design template for Batman and the Rogues Gallery for decades to come. This would be the Batman that we knew in the comics and in other animated forms until Batman 1989. And the same for the Rogues Gallery, mostly.
Woohoo!
This
Catwoman.
That Catwoman, they had to create a different look for her, because the classic Catwoman look, as well as the classic Riddler, were not available to be used because they were being used by the Super Friends. So this is where everything gets a little bit convoluted. Filmation and Hanna-Barbera agreed to share the character models for Batman and Robin. So when you watch the Super Friends, or you watch the original Filmation series, the character models for Batman are the same. So he looks consistent from Super Friends to The Adventures of Batman. and the voice actor was the same. So you had Super Friends running on one network produced by Hanna-Barbera with the same character model and the same actor for Batman, and Casey Kasem was Robin. Holy rusted metal Batman. They crossed over to the Adventures of Batman, Batman and the Super 7, the first Filmation series. But 77 comes along and Filmation brings the new Adventures of Batman. Again, they keep the character model consistent, but now you get the voices of Adam West and Burt Ward, and they really lock in and define the visual look for that Rogues Gallery with the Penguin, the Joker. That became the style everyone was used to.
Can I just say something about Catwoman's costume? It kind of is giving off Craven vibes, isn't it? Without the big mane.
You know?
And with
In a lot of ways.
Yeah, I can see that. Hollis?
I was going to say the cat head on the chest, that is very, very Craven. Many costume designs for Craven have something like that.
See, I don't like orange because I don't like that color part of the palette, wheel. People who know me know it's just a thing. Fine, everybody has different. But I want this costume now. Like, I wanted to make this costume, and did not have enough orange. I looked, and I'm like, and who wears white gloves like that? Like, I'm going to have to
do
Scotch
well, Aubrey, you would do well with, I think her name was Hellcat.
Hellcat.
Yeah,
Okay.
She's a Marvel character.
Okay. I really
Now-
like this one because the big hair is very, very doable. It's very doable. Plus, she has those really cute girls in the green outfits. If I can find a friend who's going to be one of my kitties, meow, I will be that. Okay, I will dress up like this. Please, can we find someone? I'm just saying.
This
her
would
little
be
head's
really easy. This would be really easy to do a Catwoman pajama onesie. I'm just saying.
I'm going to have to find an orange bodysuit kind of thing, and I'll figure it out. But I kind of want to try now.
And of course, go ahead,
Sorry.
Hollis.
I was just going to say, in defense of this design, most of the Catwoman costumes, especially in this time period, were purple and green as their primary color schemes. And
Yeah.
I, at least, have never seen a cat that is either of those colors. Whereas there are, in fact, orange cats.
Oh, but
So-
her vehicle was a big green, like, panther.
We had neighbors that they painted their cats purple and green.
Were they Catwoman fans?
No, they were just evil, ornery children.
Well, also, forgive me, all my superheroes tend to blur together sometimes. There was a Wonder Woman villain who was also
Cheetah.
Cheetah. Okay.
Yeah. So there's kind of some Cheetah vibes coming off of that as well. Yeah. And they couldn't use Cheetah because she was in the Super Friends. By the time we got to 77, Challenge of the Super Friends, and Cheetah was a major villain in the Super Friends. It's really a convoluted history with Filmation and Hanna-Barbera and these characters, because the same thing was going on with Superman. There was a Filmation Superman series, and then there was a Ruby Spears Superman series, and they had to work with Hanna-Barbera. It was a thing. Some villains I don't recognize off the top. Hollis, who is this dude?
He's hilarious.
Oh, is this the was he called Baby Doll? I think something like that. He was the
That's
vaguely
Professor
Valentine's
Sunspot,
themed
wasn't it?
villain. Right. Come again?
Wasn't that Professor Sunspot?
Oh, I'm confusing him with somebody else. There we go. Okay.
Oh, Batman! That's how he sounds.
Hey.
Voiced by Lou Lou Scheimer.
That was so
Who,
good.
if my sources are correct, voiced all of the male characters who were not Batman, Robin, or Bat-Mite. So
A
give
lot
the
of
guy
them.
a break.
A lot of them.
He was having to pull all kinds of voices out
Yeah.
of his voice box.
And here we have Commissioner James Gordon. And again, this established the look for James Gordon moving forward.
Oh, there's my doppelganger right there. There she is.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That's a perfect translation.
There we go.
Now, we talked about Bat-Mite. Now, I gotta say, in 1977, I'm 7 years old, and I remember this very fondly. And this was really my first, not my first, but one of my fondest Batman series. And Bat-Mite was very endearing to me. Bat-Mite was he's from the dimension Ergo, and he's a magical imp. He's got magical powers. Now, in the comics, Hollis, he's as powerful as Mr. Mxyzptlk.
Yes, he's actually in the comics from the same dimension.
Yeah.
And I was kind of confused that they didn't keep that consistent in the TV show. Maybe it was because they didn't want to acknowledge the existence of Superman within that series because of the shenanigans going on with Super Friends. I'm not sure. But yeah, in the comics, he's from the same dimension as Miss Mxyzptlk, and they actually have a couple times when they meet. So those.
Yeah, in the most recent volume of World's Finest, Mxyzptlk and Bat-Mite team up to save the world. They become heroes.
That is awesome.
It's pretty awesome. It's great. Now, Aubrey, Willow, I actually normally hate these kind of goofy, cheesy, annoying characters. But even rewatching this, I don't know. There's something very, very endearing about Bat-Mite. What did you guys think about Bat-Mite?
He gave, well, okay. We all remember Domino's Pizza, right?
Yes, the Noid.
Oh, yeah. Noid vibes all the way.
Avoid the Noid.
Yeah.
I can see that. Aubrey, what did you think about Bat-Mite?
Okay, so I don't know if it's because I watched Scooby-Doo the same time you, and around the same age as you watched this.
Okay.
But I can't stand this character.
You feel about this the way I do about Scrappy.
Yes, I love Scrappy. He's like, literally, he's the little Scrappy. He's like, he has no right to be that sassy pants, but he does. But this one, he's just like, I want to do this, Batman. Oh, Commissioner, I know. Oh, well, how do I know? He's the brains of the operation. Wait, what? And then he's like, oh, but I wanted to help. Help what? Like 90% of the time he fouls it up and he just gets put in timeout. And then he cries, big puppy dog, crocodile tears. And he's like, and I'm like, is this a Batman episode? What's happening? Why is there this little alien child that can poof out of nowhere? And, the Q's, second weird cousin, from Star Trek, just like boop over to this universe. And he's like, I'm just going to mess with Batman. I'm going to be mini Batman. And then he's like, oh, they won't let me play. He gets put in a cage. They know he can get out. But Batman's like, I'm going to teach him a lesson. Like, he's going to stay in there. Wait, 13 episodes, Johnny. 13 episodes of
Only
watching
13.
But I'm just saying, of watching this young man shenanigans. And I don't even know if he's a young man because the way he's looking at Batgirl, he's got a black and white picture of her that he kisses. Okay. So, I don't know how young he is, or if he's just, one of those awkward guys that just always seems to be half in the way and half helpful. I don't know. How old is he? I'm just saying. And okay, one more
Does age
question.
have any meaning in his
Thank you.
dimension?
Thank you. Thank you. I want to see if this character, because I'm just like, he could do so much, but he doesn't. And I'm like, that's why I'm frustrated. I'm like, he could do, like, he's done so many cool things in the series. But then when Batman and Robin are like in a bind, he's like, oh, I'm scared. Bye. Or he's like, oh, I don't know what to do. Fine, I'm going to pout. I'm like,
There's an explanation for that presented in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Oh, excuse me.
cereal burp.
There, take two. There is an explanation provided for that in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You remember in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Roger is in handcuffs, and he's handcuffed to Eddie Valiant, and Eddie's trying to saw the handcuffs to get them free from each other, and all of a sudden, Roger slips his hands out of the handcuff and he says, "Let me give you a hand." And Eddie's like, "Thanks." And then he realizes, and Roger slips his hand back in, and he's like, "Are you telling me you could get out of those cuffs at any time?" "No, not at any time. Only when it's funny." So that's what's going on with Bat-Mite. He's got godlike powers, magical powers, but he can only use them when it's appropriately funny.
So he's handicapped by his own trope. Okay.
Yes.
Got it. I understand the character now.
Oh, wait a minute. You just said something very profound. He's handicapped by his own trope.
Mm-hmm.
Hollis, do you know where I'm going with this? This would be a great episode of Sunday Morning Superheroes, because so many times in our own lives, we let our own trope define us or handicap us. And that was really profound, Aubrey.
Yeah.
The frustration you feel with him not, breaking through the trope of the ineffectual dolt, and that becoming the excuse for his incompetence when he has all of the potential and all of the ability in the world.
And the scariest part is that everybody in his world, including him, sees and feels that same frustration when he's around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that's a good idea.
But let's give some credit where credit is due. The alter ego of Batman, Bruce Wayne, always the philanthropist, always the one with his heart on the sleeve. He's got a soft spot for orphans. He always finds a way for Bat-Mite to become useful.
I think Dick Grayson does that too. He's a big softie when it comes to him throughout the series.
Dick Grayson more so is about sees the good in people, whereas I guess Batman does too in a way, but he likes to take advantage of people's weakness.
Are you saying that Bruce Wayne is the Obi-Wan Kenobi of DC Comics?
Kinda, yeah. Because there was an episode of Justice League where he literally used everybody's weakness against them.
Well, that's just being a smart tactician.
Yes, he's a very, very smart man. But can we talk about the computer? When are we going to talk about the crazy bat computer?
Okay.
Oh, please, Hollis, tell me your opinion of this amazing before Jarvis. Okay, before Jarvis existed, there was an amazing computer that could bring people out of comas, an amazing computer that can cook peanut butter, jelly, and fudge cookies, and makes sassy pants jokes all the time, like better luck next time, Cape Crusaders. Like, wait, who programmed you to say that?
I like the Bat computer. I think that it is like when I watched the series this time, what I was thinking was this is like if they took the 66 series and they did all the crazy Silver Age comic book stuff that you could never do in live action at the time, like Bat-Mite, for instance. This is that series. And so, just like in the 66 series where they had their Bat computer that would do all these crazy calculations for them, right? And like they put in all the data, who needs to be a detective when you have a Bat computer? And it just solves the case for you. I feel like this is them taking that same concept and blowing it up to 60s comic book, Silver Age style comic book shenanigans.
I mean, in one episode, Batman and Bat-Mite and the computer have a full conversation. I'm like, who did this? This is so funny. And I see, oh yes, it was amazing. That computer, it spit out those little cards with the dots on it. I'm like, but yes. and took A-tracks, you know.
And that comes right out of the Adam West series. They did that stuff in the Adam West series.
And they can also play this giant game together, you know, in like the first episode, like Dick Grayson has to make dinner, and Batman, the only reason he is into it is because it makes Bat-Mite run away at the end of the episode. It's so bad. But they take this giant smart computer that can talk and, you know, bring people out of a coma to play a giant game, a giant video game. It's,
of course.
You know, typical guys. It's
well,
okay.
You know, to Hollis's point, in the Silver Age Batman comics, they got ridiculous with their themes. Like, you know, there was Mexican bullfighter Batman with the sombrero. There was the rainbow colored Batman. There was, you know, just ridiculous. It became a joke.
Bat Hound, Bat Cow.
Yes, Bat Cow.
Bat Cow. Wait, I missed that one.
Batman Brave and the Bold actually touches on that too.
Yeah, the new series Brave and the Bold. And it wasn't until the early 1970s in kind of a backlash to the 1966 series that Batman got serious. Who was the writer that is escaping my name?
Frank
Hollis.
Miller.
Well, no, before Frank Miller.
Oh, before that was Neil Adams, right?
Neil Adams. Yeah, Neil Adams was the artist. It'll come to me in a minute, and I'm going to be like, aha.
Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue too.
Yeah. But anyway, Batman took Denny O'Neil. Denny O'Neil wrote Batman in a much more serious aspect that set the stage for Frank Miller's Batman or The Dark Knight Returns, which in turn set the stage for the Batman 1989 movie with that Tim Burton did. And so basically you have between this and Batman 89 this super evolution of the character from silly, insipid to serious and hardcore. And now today, nobody would even consider a silly Batman to be the real Batman. And to your point,
yeah, I agree,
Willow, that Brave and the Bold series, which I love, I think it's hysterical. Fans hated. There's so much hatred for that show because it was a comedy, and fans don't like Batman being a comedy anymore.
It seems like a lot of comic fans don't like like anything that has comedy in it because a lot of people didn't like the newer, funnier Marvel films.
Well, and they were some of the most successful.
I know,
a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you know, fans malign Teen Titans Go. Teen Titans Go is the longest running DC animated series. It has now outlasted Super Friends. And it is slapstick comedy from beginning to end. It's completely irreverent to the characters and to the canon of DC Comics. And it is brilliant. And it's been hugely successful for Warner Brothers. But hardcore comic fans loathe it.
Because
I
they
have
want
come across that.
Batman. They want Batman to be brooding and serious, and sorry guys, this is why I'm a huge fan of the Adam West version, is because he doesn't take himself serious.
Wait, so you like the campy, Willow?
I
Yeah?
love
Like
it.
the campy Batman?
I
Okay.
It is
love it.
awesome. It's funny.
Yeah, because
So-
I'm with you. Brooding and melancholy Batman is boring.
I am.
Ouch. Okay,
Wait
I
a
wouldn't say.
second. Wait a second. Oh no. No.
There's a time and place for it.
No.
There is a time and place for it. Okay.
Oh, by the way,
But-
this mask is the Frank Miller Batman Dark Knight Returns mask.
It came with the graphic novel, right?
Yes. Yeah.
No.
So there's actually for you
Who's your
super
favorite?
nerds out there. Oh, sorry.
No. Who is your favorite? The campy or the angsty?
I
Who are you
actually
asking?
think that the
Hollis.
90s Bruce Timm series is a really good synthesis of all of it, because there are episodes of that series that are very serious, and there are episodes of that series that are flat out comedic, like Harley's Holiday, things like that. And what I liked about that version of Batman actually is the characterization of Batman himself is a mixture of like the really dark, brooding Batman, but he also has this empathy to him that you don't see in many other versions of the Batman character. Like, and I'm not the first one to point this out, but there are many episodes of that series that end with the villain, who is obviously a mentally ill person, breaking down in tears, and Batman like putting his hand on that person's shoulder and just sitting with them. And to me, that is the best version of Batman, like as a human being, as a character. So that's the one I like the best. That's a mixture of them all. But I also embrace like pretty much all the versions of Batman. I have something that I like about them. There's a for the super nerds out there, there is actually an academic book called Chasing the Dark Knight, where he basically makes this argument that the dark and brooding Batman was pushed forward to the center after the 80s, essentially because, if I'm representing his argument correctly, that a lot of insecure early adult male readers needed to have a super dark Batman so that they could feel comfortable as adults reading comic books and things like that. And those guys are the reason that the super edgy Batman became the dominant Batman. And it wasn't until later on that they were able to recover the Adam West campy history of Batman.
I think there's validity to that argument, because the same thing could be said about Star Wars fans. Star Wars fans were like livid in 1999 with Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. All three of you are too young to really remember this the way that I do, because I was there. I was 22, 21 or 20, no. 1999, I was almost 30. And when Phantom Menace came out, hardcore Star Wars fans who grew up with the original series like I did, I saw it when I was 7 years old in the theater, they had expected Star Wars to grow up with them. But what George Lucas did was stay true to his original vision of creating a pulp adventure for 12-year-old boys. And Star Wars fans who love Star Wars all their life, and now they're adults in their 20s and 30s, 40s, some in their 50s, were outraged that Star Wars did not become gritty and dark and grow up with them. And, you know, the same thing can be said for Batman. Fans wanted that, and that's what they expected, and that's why
still true today, Johnny. I agree with you. I agree with you and Hollis that shifting with the times, though it can be outrageous to some fans, is helpful to bring a new audience, to bring a new generation in. And it's done with Batman, with Superman, with our favorites, our favorite intellectual properties.
Well,
they have done this.
Thank God that it failed with Superman. That Zack Snyder destroyed that franchise to the point that they had to completely reboot the entire universe. And yeah.
I feel
Snyder,
like
I just want to say, I'll say it on the record. I don't think Zack Snyder understands superheroes as a concept.
I agree 100%.
I feel like it's good to reboot things. It's good to revisit things. I feel like when you can't expand on a universe, or if you can't show
Willow's
it in a
back.
fresh way,
Yay.
I feel like then if you can't show it in a fresh way, or you can't expand it, that IP is going to die. Like it's gonna. You can redo. You can golden age, you can silver copy, gold copy, collector's edition, put the interviews in, show the panels of the art. You can do all that. But what about that universe? Like, what about the next generation that would like to hear maybe a different perspective or in a different way for them? So, you were talking, Johnny, about Teen Titans Go. I was a person who, talked to a few of my friends, about, they were fans about the Titans and Batman and Robin and the characters in there, and they did not like the campy Teen Titans Go. And then there were my kids' generation, where it was just their bread and butter, their oxygen. Like, when they thought of any of those characters, they thought of those characters first. And I'm like, what? Oh, let you watch the old Batman movie so I can make your brain expand a little bit. And I did do that. I was one of those parents that's like, old rock, classic music, old cartoons, classic, first gen movies that I saw, even the Star Wars that my dad, geek heritage going down the ages. But at the same time, they loved this show.
This is the argument that I make all the time, that good media, good art, good music, good movies are good movies. Good stories are good stories are good stories, regardless of when they were made or created. And in a lot of cases, it's just packaging. I have said for ages, and it came true during the pandemic, when we were shut down for the pandemic, I was like, a lot of these classic movies that kids have never seen because they're old could be re-released as a brand new release in the theaters. And if they didn't know that it was made in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, they would love it. They would go see it. And we saw that with, theater showing old movies because there was nothing new coming out. We saw it just last year when Return of the Jedi was reissued for its 40th year anniversary. The theaters were packed with families, kids who had never seen it before. To them, it was brand new, and they loved it. So, there's something to be said about let's not taint our media let's not taint our stories by calling it old or different or, vintage. Let's just, yes, we celebrate that here, but when it comes to introducing it to new young fans, let's present it with new packaging.
Yeah.
Anyway, Aubrey, I wanted to talk about this real quick. You sent a couple of screenshots. Everyone associates the hyenas with Harley Quinn, but actually, the Joker in this series was the first to have the pet hyenas.
That's right. Giggles was his, not Harley's. Let's call it like it is. She might have adopted him later. She might have called him hers, but it was Joker's babies first. And oh my gosh, do they feed off each other? It's hilarious.
And Aubrey, I know you're a big fan of the backdrops, so you sent me a ton of pictures of backdrops and the detail and the matte paintings and the backdrops. I know that's
Yes.
your jam.
Yes, between the backgrounds that were actually really well drawn out and weren't just repeats of the Batman that I accidentally watched first without Bat-Mite. Because I will admit it, my boss set the info. I glanced at it, my ADHD, horror that I had not gotten. I'm like, okay, I got it. I'm watching it. And then I'm sending him the pictures and he's in a little clip. Thank goodness I set the little clip and he's like, wait a second. That sounds like Casey Case. And I'm like, yeah. Oh boy. Okay. So what happened was I went and I still ended up doing my research. I will say that there's a few points that I wanted to mention besides the kooky back to why the Bermuda rectangle? Why weren't we allowed to say the Bermuda Triangle? Was there some kind of legal reason they had to call it the Bermuda Rectangle? That had me staying up a little bit. I couldn't sleep for like a half hour with it.
Because Bat-Mite turned it into a rectangle.
If he can do that, there are so many things. Anyway, okay. The bat phone. For anybody who likes detail, backdrop, detail, okay. Voices, detail, like a slide whistle when Batman and Robin go, ew, and you're like, wait, what? Why a slide whistle? Why? It's campy, it's fun. It reminds me of the old cartoon. But why is the bat phone in the cave completely changing all the time? Can we talk to Alfred? It's gold. Red with buttons. It has a bat form on it. It has no bat form. It has buttons. It has no buttons. It's red. It's black. It's gold. Oh my God. Somebody make up their mind what the phone's supposed to look like.
Well, it's because you had...
Sorry, go ahead.
Because Filmation had different teams working on different episodes. There was the very first episode. No, it wasn't the first. It was the Identity Crisis with Batgirl, where Catwoman was impersonating Batgirl. There's an entire sequence, like not just 1 or 2 frames, but like probably 50 to 60 frames where Batman's emblem was reversed. It was black with a yellow bat.
It's so disturbing.
And somehow that got because there's different teams working on different sections of the show. That was a hallmark.
Some other episodes too.
Did it?
There were, where you could tell. They're actually Bruce Timm and his team paid homage to that in one episode of Batman the Animated Series. For like 20 seconds, they had in that series the bat emblem inversed, but they did it on purpose because they wanted to reference this series. When they
That's funny. That's funny. Well, before we get to some more listener comments, we got to talk about some Batman merch of the era. So I always wanted this as a kid. Now, this came before 1977. This was based on the 1960s Silver Age Batman comics, but this was still very popular in retail through the 80s. The Batman utility belt. I never had it.
Batman
I don't
had
know.
a gun.
Yeah. Well, in the original Batman comics, Batman carried a gun.
That's right. He was a great
And then he went to not liking guns and not killing people.
Yeah. But it's got the bat handcuffs. It's got the grappling hook, the gun, the batarang. I don't know if that's the bat shark spray and the syringe. I don't know what that is. But there's 2 of them. You see the little squeeze bulb with the, I don't know what's in that. But there's a slot for 2 of them. This was an amazing toy, and I never got it. I do have the Hulk utility belt that I showed off a couple of weeks ago, but
because we all know that the Hulk is well known for his utility belt.
Yeah. But we've talked about Ben Cooper costumes.
Oh, wait. Go back to that other picture, Johnny. I figured it out.
What?
It's a message sender. The thing with the bulb, the black thing with the red.
Yeah,
plastic.
there's 2 of them.
It says a message sender. You wrap a little piece of paper around it to send a message.
Huh?
That's so cool. It's on the instructions right there. That's so cool.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. Ben Cooper costumes. because you had to have the name of the character on the front of the costume so that everyone knew that you were Batman. And
The eye hole's way too small that you can't see out of, and guarantee for us Canadians we would trip and fall on our faces and the mask would be ruined instantly.
And of course, I showed off my Mago Batman. Oh, hey, look. Now the yellow isn't transparent. Oh, yes, it is. I'm just holding it in a good spot on the backdrop.
Perfect.
But yeah, I loved Mago. Oh my gosh, that was my toy. But I never got this.
Oh.
This is the Wayne Manor playset.
Why does
Basically,
that remind me of a Hot Wheels.
no, it should remind you of a Barbie Dreamhouse.
I was just gonna say that definitely has Barbie Dreamhouse vibes to it.
It totally was the Barbie Dreamhouse for boys. Absolutely. And
Can we talk about the colors of the Batman vehicles in this versus the cartoon we just watched?
sure.
Like, that's yellow and black and red, and the cartoon is like red, 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 black, red, red, black. Why?
Primary colors.
Yeah, you got to sell toys. And I showed you my superpowers Batman. This is the original one from the 1980s. But I've got the reissue, which is almost identical, but the bat emblem is different. And this is the original superpowers Batcopter. But
Oh,
we're talking about the new adventures of Batman, and there is an entire action figure line from McFarlane Toys of the new adventures of Batman. And you might notice something very strange about one of the characters. Anyone? Anyone?
I'm no. Besides the
Hollis?
color.
The Riddler is the wrong color.
Yeah, why is
From
he pink?
Any other media does not have that color costume. It's only in the opening of this series that they colored.
Yeah.
And the reason was he was pink in the New Adventures of Batman, who he actually never appeared in one of the stories. He was only in the opening sequence. They couldn't use the green design that was created by Hanna-Barbera for the Super Friends. So they made him pink. And they never called him the Riddler. He just appeared in the opening credits.
That is so sad because I don't understand. Like, that was kind of a thing that was torn for me. Is the Riddler and the Joker seemed to be very, very similar in the early Batmans.
In some ways.
In a lot of ways, they were. There were some comic stories in the 60s that were more or less recycled, and it was like copy paste Joker into the story instead of Riddler, or vice versa. So in that 60s Silver Age time, when they were trying to clean up their villains, right, to make sure that they don't do anything that could possibly make the CCA angry with them, they toned the Joker down in terms of his insanity, right, and his murderous ways. And when you get rid of that from the Joker, it does, what's left in his personality can be very, very similar to the Riddler in the sense of commits crimes but thinks he's too smart for anyone to catch him, so he leaves clues as to what he's going to be doing type thing.
Which he did in this series. Mm-hmm. He dropped riddles and they had to solve them. Anyway, let's get to some comments here because we've got some.
Good morning.
Dave Mattingly asks a question that I was thinking when we were talking about Bat-Mite.
Okay.
He asks, is Bat-Mite related to Fred Flintstone's Great Gazoo?
Oh, he has to be. He has to be.
In my head canon, I'm going to say yes. But in actual cartoon canon, the answer is no. But in head canon, yes.
Hey, you can't prove that them and Bat-Mite and Q from Star Trek don't all come from the same dimension and are
I mean, they
all-
wouldn't want you to know it anyway.
Well, now here's the funny thing. As I say that no, in canon it's not, I am reminded in my head that Warner Brothers owns DC Comics and it owns Hanna-Barbera, and by default DC Comics has always owned Bat-Mite. Bat-Mite first appeared in the comics. So the actual answer is, since the ownership is the same, that yes, they are related. Great Gazoo and Bat-Mite are definitely from the same dimension. I'm going with that.
Okay, that explains a little bit more. I could see like a little village of them. Yeah, just driving each other crazy, doing popping in and out. Where'd you go to? I was Universe 66 just now. I made it explode. Then I left with a laugh.
Carlin Stewart says the Batcave AI rocks. Dave Mattingly says, I love that the Bat Cow is back in the comics. It is? I didn't know that. Did not know that. And Carlin Stewart.
I need to see that at the con. A Bat Cow.
Carlin Stewart did back us up. It was Denny O'Neil who made Batman darker and more of the detective. Carlin Stewart also adds, my daughter loved Teen Titans. I thought it was great. Talking about Teen Titans Go. And Dave Mattingly, Batman Brave and the Bold was amazing. Only Weiner fans hated it. And so here's the dirty little secret, ladies. During Scoobtober, there's going to be a lot of Batman Scooby-Doo crossover. Because the first thing we're going to cover in Scoobtober is the Scooby-Doo movies with Scooby-Doo Meets the Dynamic Duo. It's a 2-part episode where they fight the Joker and the Penguin. It's terrible. I'm just giving you a heads up. But I loved it as a kid. Then after that, we're going to be covering the Batman Brave and the Bold animated movie where Batman and Scooby-Doo team up in the Brave and the Bold series. So Scoobtober and Batman are very closely related. See the transition here? See the segue that we are making? I am a trained broadcast professional, folks. Do not try this at home. Dave Mattingly says, campy always wins for me. Life is absurd and art should be also. I love that. I love that.
I am split in two ways. I agree with Hollis. I like the campy, but I also love the dark and the gritty because that also mirrors life in a lot of situations. For some of us, our life at times was dark and gritty. So having that connection, like Batman, having that connection is like, it feels a little less abnormal to dwell on the haunted parts of your story. And avoiding it doesn't make it healthy. And speaking of which, can we tie this back to the Batman and the Bat message? Can we talk about the Bat message? Okay. Sometimes I had to rewatch the Bat message. Like, was there a message? Or is it just crime doesn't pay again? Because that's like a repeat. But I will say, for all those people who want, men and young women at the era of when this came out to have good messages, one of the first messages, okay, is, got a problem? Be willing to discuss it. Can we go back and everybody watch that one episode and hear that one message? Because I feel like it would solve 90% of the whole world's problems if we just, hey, Batman says, got a problem? Talk about it, okay? Can we do that?
That would be
please?
awesome.
I don't believe in I don't believe in giving my enemies anything that can be used against me.
Well, we weren't talking to talk about your enemies. We're talking about, just talk to somebody about it, and therapy is a great way. They're not your enemy. You're paying them to not be your enemy. I'm just saying, traversing the world as adults today.
Yeah, but when a person actually
with
needs
Batman's
therapy,
advice.
shouldn't that be free? I'm just saying.
Oh, I mean, some insurance
We're,
covers
hey,
it
whoa,
now.
whoa, whoa, we're not going there. Not going there. Carlin Stewart said Harley got giggles when the Joker went to prison.
Yep,
And
or
he
got
never got him
involved in
back.
divorce.
What?
Or got custody of him in the divorce. One of the two.
Dave Mattingly says Bat-Mite turned the Bermuda Triangle into a rectangle because he's such a square. Now this is a deep cut. In the final episode of Brave and Bold, the animated series, Bat-Mite criticized older animation's inconsistent coloration. But do you know who voiced Bat-Mite in the Brave and the Bold? Anyone know? Anyone? Hey there, Mr. Washington. Pee Wee Herman.
Oh,
I'm Bat-Mite. Why couldn't they get the coloration right?
I could totally see that being appropriate, though.
And Dave Mattingly says, I love Beware the Creeper episode of Brave and the Bold, where he briefly puts on an old Ben Cooper Batman mask. Listen, that episode, Beware the Creeper, is maybe peak Batman animation. If you've never seen Batman Brave and the Bold.
Sorry, Dave Mattingly actually does reference the voice of the recent voice casting of Paul Rubens as Bat-Mite and Gilbert Gottfried as Mr. M was inspired.
I can't believe the Batman got away again. He foiled my plans. I can't. Oh my God.
Both are very missed.
And Dave Mattingly says Scooby-Doo meets Batman, the Brave and the Bold is fantastic. It is truly something special. And Dave Mattingly adds, grim and gritty and absurdity are not mutually exclusive.
I agree. I think it's a false dichotomy.
Ooh, Hollis just broke out some big words.
What I mean is, I don't think that all these arguments about what is the real Batman in all of these different versions is absurd. There is no one real version of Batman. There's just all these different versions out there. And not one of them is any more legitimate than another one. Well, unless you want to just go by the original authors, in which case only the original Bill Finger and Bob Kane run of Batman is the real Batman.
Well, and if you want to go that far back, you have to understand that Bob Kane and Bill Finger lifted almost everything of the Batman from The Shadow by Walter B. Gibson. And so, anyway, we're not going to go there right now. I'm not bitter. But yeah, so it all comes down to preferences, right? There's not a wrong or right. There's what you like and prefer. That's where fans really need to have a come to Jesus meeting, because just because something is your favorite and not mine doesn't mean that your favorite is bad or not, doesn't have validity. My treasure, one man's trash, as Jim Carrey said in How the Grinch Stole Christmas, one man's trash is another man's potpourri. And, don't yuck my yum. Love what you love. Let me love what I love. And, one isn't better than the other. They're just different. Now, I will sometimes look at Willow and say, what? You didn't like that? What planet do you live on? But, it takes different strokes. Anyway, that was a deep cut that Willow and Aubrey are both like, what is he going off on? Anyway.
Anyway, so can we talk about the one-liners? Oh, here we go.
Dave Mattingly says, I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I?
And that is a great one-liner by Pee Wee Herman of Pee Wee's Playhouse. And I did watch Pee Wee, and, you know, didn't care what he did with his situation because, you know, I can separate the art from the artist, you know, in my life. But can we talk about the one-liners in this show? Again, when you have camp and you have comic book and you put those two together, you get some weird one-liners like holy dog paddle Batman, and Electro calling them dynamic pickles because he shrinks them and puts them in a jar and shakes the jar a little bit and goes, oh, well, that looks like you're some dynamic pickles. Like, when the bad guy says some weird stuff and you're like, you don't sound so bad right now. It sounded kind of cute. Like, look at the little pickles.
It was particularly bad with the penguin, with all of the bird puns.
Oh my God, yes,
quite
so
extensive.
many.
I think they came up with every single bird pun you can possibly do.
And with the
stuck 'em in
Catwoman.
themselves.
Yep, and with
Oh, with the
Catwoman, they
cat.
had all the cat puns. It was like, this is just, it was a punny show, very punny. Oh, all the sounds. If you close your eyes, it could be a Scooby-Doo episode during some of the episodes. Just close your eyes for a second. I was like, wait.
Well,
no,
and
this
for
is the
those
same
of you,
show.
for those of you who have never seen our show before, we talk about that a lot. And the reason is because all of these sound designers with the animation studios were drawing from the Hollywood sound library. So, you know, sound effects, Foley effects were in the library. And, you know, you see them consistently, not just in animation, but through movies and TV shows. You'll recognize the Wilhelm scream and the Goofy fall, and you know, same thing with Filmation, Hanna-Barbera properties, Ruby Spears. The sounds, the sound effects are similar, or if not the exact same, all throughout. Any last thoughts about the New Adventures of Batman, Willow?
It's a great cartoon. It gives like, for those who may be a fan of the '66 Batman, much like myself, it's a definite fantastic reminiscent of bringing those characters back to life in an anime way. The reason why I like it so much, yes, I love the camp. I love the nod to like the vaudeville days, and I've always been a fan of that.
Aubrey, final thoughts.
Oh.
Well, for everything from yearly underworld convention to having Chameleon, which was actually a robot with Dr. Devious inside him, to Penguin using laughing gas first, to the bat torch melting bars and them jumping out of their vehicle. This is worth watching. This is worth watching. If you haven't seen this one, yes, there is camp. And if you don't like camp in Batman, okay. But if you put that aside, there's some stuff like the Bat computer and the romance with the Bat-Mite and Batgirl. And why the commissioner knows but doesn't know that his daughter is Batgirl, because it seems like he does, and then he seems like he does, and then he seems like he does, and then maybe you guys can figure it out. And one more thing, somebody research who Jen is, because Jen's bar is at the end of this cartoon. And in my excitement, I'm hitting my mic. The only thing I could come up with for Jen, by the way, is Juno Temple. It's like a sidekick to Selena Kyle. Like, the only Jen I can come up with is that character. So somebody, if you know, because I tried to do the research, who's Jen? How did she get her own bar? is she connected with the writers or the artists, and why did they let her in every episode? I want to know. If it means nothing, that's okay. But I'm one of those that's like, does it mean something? Is it connected to somebody? I couldn't find it. I'm intrigued, and yes, I did go ahead and buy the whole season so I could watch it and have it forever, because I'm most of the way in, committed. There's some kooky characters in here that you're not going to see in any other Batman. There's some costumes you're never going to see in any other Batman. If you miss this one and you like Batman, you're missing like a whole mini era like in this, because it was repeated over and over again. So we know other people have seen it. You can't miss this one. From the Joker's gray-green streaks to the Penguin literally outsmarting like a lot of, yes, look at that hair, to the Penguin outsmarting Batman on more than one occasion. And then, Clayface, totally underrated bad guy, totally just grabs a hold of the reins and shows you how awesome he could be. I'm like, I'm in it. I'm in it. I'm in the cartoon already. I love it. And I love the wow Catwoman and her little accent, because why not?
So I'm going to get hate mail about this. Because we have some viewers that like to point out every error I make. I made an error when I said that this series came after Batman and the Super 7, and that is not correct. There was a previous Filmation Batman series before this one, but these episodes were the episodes that were repackaged as part of Batman and the Super 7 from 1980 to 1981. So I want to issue that correction for that one fan out there who is going to post a note on our YouTube channel about how we need to do our research. Anyway, Hollis, final thoughts about the new adventures of Batman.
I think it's a fun series. I've always really liked the Bat-Mite character from the comics.
Me too.
I do find him slightly more annoying in this show. But what really struck me as I was watching it is its place in like the progression of superhero adaptations, because it is the first that I know of like step towards a series that does multi-episode character arcs. Before, they're all very serialized. This one has that same serialized theme, but it builds to something, right? Because it has something akin to a series finale at the end, where you have Zarbor, right, who comes from Bat-Mite's dimension and collects a bunch of the Batman villains together, and actually has a meaningful character arc with Bat-Mite, right? Because at the end of that series, he becomes very important. He's not just a nuisance. He actually does manage to help and save the day in the last episode of the series. And I thought that was really cool, that we're starting to get the more complexity that would eventually come with these superhero TV shows.
I'm so glad you said that, because now I want to watch it even more. I didn't know that. That is like redemption. Okay, I'm excited.
Well, and by the way, Bat-Mite was voiced by Lou Scheimer in this, and you are going to, when you hear him, you're going to recognize his voice from Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids, from Hero High, from just about every Filmation series. He voiced some characters, and he really doesn't change his voice very much. So you're going to be like, wait a minute, I've heard that character somewhere else. And that's where. Hollis, do you agree with me that this was, for all intents and purposes, a continuation of the Adam West series?
I think that it is like a weird, to me, I see it as like, on the one hand, a continuation of the Adam West series. On the other hand, a continue of the Batman Adventure series that came before. It feels like some kind of mix those two together continuation, and there you have this show. Maybe somebody who really likes thinking about canon can figure out some way to synthesize all those things and create a timeline that makes sense. If so, please let me know, because I would love to look at that.
Hold on. Someone call Kevin Smith.
Also, since you mentioned a voice actor, I will mention Melody Britt, who does almost every single female in the show. I will say that if you recognize her voice, if you're one of those people watching that's a little bit younger, she's Gran from the Avatar: The Last Airbender. So, you know, like, and a lot of other voices, but I know we don't have time to mention them all, but, you know, she's a very good voice and actor in person.
It's
so,
fascinating.
yes.
I think it's also worth mentioning, this was one of the first shows that Adam West was a voice actor in, right? And he went on to have a pretty extensive career in voice acting in the future. So even if you are, I don't know if there's such a thing as somebody who's a fan of Adam West apart from Batman, but if so, this is an important series as one of the first times he's a voice actor.
Yeah, his voice is amazing.
Well, what's interesting about that, Hollis, is that Mark Hamill, who was the voice actor for the Joker in Batman the Animated Series, that was his first voice acting gig, and he has gone on to become like the king of cartoon voice acting.
Ooh, is this like a blessing from the Batman?
The spot from Tim Curry, who got sick during the making of the animated series because he couldn't hold the voice.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a little trivia there. We got one more comment here, and that is from Dave Mattingly. He says, my favorite Adam West voice acting is the mayor on Family Guy.
Yes.
Personally, I liked him when he played himself in The Simpsons.
Gray Ghost.
Yep.
Yeah.
Batman does have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame now.
As last week, that's right, as part of Batman Day celebration last Saturday. Thank you for reminding us of that.
That great outfit.
Yep, that's his current comic canon outfit.
I am digging that one. I want to see more of that at the con.
Well,
that and the classic blue.
That's what this figure is in. Same outfit. Anyway, all right. Well, that is it for us this week. We need to acknowledge some sponsors. Song Swap Showdown. Check them out.
Chris Vaglou here from Song Swap Showdown. We are your weekly musical throwdown podcast. Each and every week, my co-host Amanda Sharp and I each swap 3 songs with each other that we may or may not have heard before, and then we rate those songs at a scale of 1 to 5 records, with 1 being a hard pass of a song and 5 being heavenly music to our ears. The songs are chosen by spinning the wheel of themes at the end of every single episode. But today, I am here to let you know that your weekend is not complete unless you started off by watching Back of the Cereal Box with Johnny Beyond and the rest of the crew. Love you, Johnny. Keep up the amazing work and rock it.
Yay! And we also have to acknowledge Comic Books for Kids.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit cb4k.org.
They are fantastic. Check them out. And Hollis, tomorrow morning, you've got a very cool and very substantial episode of Sunday Morning Superheroes dropping. The topic is Venom, DID, and Christianity. Tell us a little bit about what that episode is about and what folks should expect to get from it.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about the Marvel Comics character Venom, who obviously began as a Spider-Man villain, but became kind of a anti-hero in his own or their own right, as it were. And I'm joined by Constellation Jennings, who is an author who also has DID, which is the new term for what used to be called multiple personality disorder. So this is where you have a person with, well, a body with multiple different personalities going on in the brain and taking the steering wheel, as it were, at different times. And we're going to be talking about some ways in which Venom, because it's Eddie Brock, the human, and the alien symbiote Venom together that create the character, and how they function in some ways like someone with the ID, with the different personalities. And we're also going to be talking about how canonically Eddie Brock is a Christian, a Roman Catholic, and yet he's also this very violent and it's sometimes psychotic character. And we're going to be discussing how perhaps Venom is a reflection of the way that 80s comic book creators who made him, like Todd McFarlane, perhaps saw the American church at that time, where sometimes different aspects of the American church can seem perhaps like someone with the ID and the different issues going on there. Once again, full disclosure, me and Constellation are both Christians, but we're also able to say, hey, there are some times when people are saying things about us where we don't need to react as defensive, but to be curious and to say, okay, why is it that you perceive us that way? What is it that we do that makes you feel that way? So that is what we'll be talking about in that episode.
It is fantastic. I watched it yesterday as I was posting it up for release on Sunday. It is fascinating. You really got to check it out. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., Sunday morning superheroes. And Willow, tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night is my birthday. Well, tomorrow's my birthday. I will be gaining the
birthday,
knowledge
Willow.
of the universe. I'm going to be turning 42. I have been wanting to bring back After Dark, but because my province's hydro is doing maintenance and upgrades, it's in my area. My power may or may not go out periodically, so I can't be reliable on that. But if you guys want to take the reins on that,
Well,
please.
I thought maybe you had a Geeky Discoveries episode tomorrow night, but that's
no,
next
but
week.
The 6th. I will be joined by Mick Strawn, who has worked on many films, many horror films, from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Nightmare on Elm Street. He even worked on Mortal Kombat. So
Very cool. And Aubrey, are you going to join me and Blake at the Columbia Comic and Toy Show today?
Yes, I will. I am dressing as Poison Ivy, so I'm going all out today.
We will probably be there right at about 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Okay,
So-
well, I'll be as directly after this. I will be putting more caffeine into myself, and then I will be getting into my face gems and my costume.
See, you get
looking
to do
forward to seeing the
cosplay.
pictures.
All right, we will take a bunch of pictures and video. And by the way, before I go, I have a recommendation for everybody. If you have not gone to see Transformers 1, go see it immediately. If you are a Transformers fan in any way, shape, or form, this movie is not only just outstanding from a movie perspective, but it is the Transformers movie we should have gotten from the very start.
Okay, Johnny, give us a tiny spoiler. How much jazz and Bumblebee is in here?
Tons of Bumblebee, very, very little jazz.
Okay.
But
I'll give
Bumblebee
it a
is
try.
No, that's a glowing review. I've heard
Yeah.
that it is bombing in the box office. So that
really, our theater was filled.
really okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Guess it
Yeah.
depends on where you go.
Yeah, it sometimes does. It's phenomenal. It is the best Transformers movie ever made. And it is one of my favorite.
Wait. You're saying it's better than the 80s original?
Oh my God, the 80s original was horrible.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Oh, no.
Them's
No.
bad words.
Please don't hate us. Please don't hate us. We're Johnny's. We all have opinions.
We did a review of it on this show last year. I made my opinions known. I thought that movie was awful. Now, there are great things about it, like the soundtrack is like killer. But and Aubrey loved the Sharkticons. But you know, as a no.
I want to go watch it now because I don't know how that compares. But you know, as a female who liked Transformers as a kid, okay, I'll watch it.
This movie, Transformers 1, is chef's kiss. Phenomenal. And everybody follow me at johnnybeyond.com. If you like this show, you know, tell 200-300 of your closest friends and family to come share the fun. Post a review on Apple, Spotify, wherever you watch or listen. You know, make it good. Post comments on our Facebook page, on the YouTube channel. Continue to engage with us. Whatever you're watching this on, you know, subscribe and click the notification bell. That way you never miss an episode. And if you really, really love the show, contribute financially. Become a Cereal Box Super Friend at patreon.com/Cereal Box Podcast. And if you absolutely hate the show, contribute even more at patreon.com/Cereal Box Podcast so we can get better. Like this morning has been quite a few flubs and kerfuffles, and you know, maybe some extra money would keep that from happening. Like we could buy.
I will just get even more klutzier.
Yeah. So we
That's
can improve.
live theater, Johnny.
I can get better pajamas.
Better pajamas for Aubrey. Better headphones so that they don't blend into the backdrop. Actually, I've got a pair of headphones I'm bringing to you today, Aubrey. More lighting for Willow. You know, those things make us better for you. What is that?
I know. That's what I was about to. Oh.
No. Completely inadequate.
Because for some reason, I'm coming off red right now.
Maybe you need a little green. Do the green color. Let's see if it balances it. Almost. No. Wait, maybe from I don't know. How we need light for Willow.
Kind of, yeah. It does kind of work.
I don't want to wear a pajama.
Anyway,
I guess.
Yep. Help us become sponsor ready and contribute at patreon.com/Cereal Box Podcast. Well, friends and foes, that is it for us. Love you, mean it. Until the next time, we'll catch you on the back of the cereal box. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, bonjour. That's not our exit video. This is the exit video.
It's like Coca-Cola, Levi's